What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dissect That Film, where we dissect your favorite films, film franchises, and TV. Today on episode 67 of the podcast, we are talking about a little cult classic from 1985, H.P. Lovecraft's Re-Animator. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, the wonderful Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming.
Hello.
Oh. So Dan recommended this one after something. It was a nice palate cleanser coming off of our long stretch of Terminator. The theme still plays in my head every day, every minute of the day. But he typed it into our little chat, and I said, "Hell yeah!" Because I had been meaning to watch this movie for a long time, and I just never got to it. It wasn't something that I ever dove into. Even in my youth, because I was obsessed with going to the rental store and renting horror movies, and this just wasn't something I guess I probably just walked by. It just wasn't something that really caught my eye. But I remember the first time I really heard about it was through Dead Meat, watching their kill count on it, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch this. There was 3 of these, by the way. There's Re-Animator, which came out in 1985. There is Bride of Re-Animator, which came out in 1990, which I've heard is actually a really good sequel. And then it was dormant for 13 years when the third one came out, called Beyond Re-Animator, I believe it is. All of them starring Jeffrey Combs, who is the man who carries this movie throughout the 85 minutes, which is just a perfect runtime. Movies. People who make movies. Can you please make more movies with runtimes like this? Because this 2.5 hour, even close to 3 hours, is getting, like, as I get older, I'm just like, 85 minutes, perfect. It's perfect. So Re-Animator came out October 18th, 1985. Little budget of most of the things that I've been reading is
6 days old.
$900,000, and it grossed about $2 million, which you can say what it is. I feel most of it is because this was released unrated. Stuart Gordon and one of the producers, Brian Usna, they were like, we don't want to be limited on what we can do, because they had a whole idea. They had the script. They had the ideas of all the gore and, of course, all the sexual stuff that goes on in this movie. They were like, we just want to go balls to the wall, pretty much, and they did. They ended up doing a theatrical, or they ended up releasing an R-rated version, which pretty much eliminates pretty much all the gore and, of course, all the sex that the theatrical cut had. And to fill in kind of the gaps, it actually is longer than the theatrical cut. I think it's like 96 minutes.
Really?
But most of it is stuff that was cut from the original version, where it's more like plot stuff, more like side plots that were going on, like Dr. Hill controlling the dean before he's reanimated later on. He's able to like do that stuff. And let me actually find some of the stuff from the R-rated version. So R-rated. One of them was the subplot of Dr. Hill hypnotizing several characters pretty much before the events that happen later on in the film. He controls Halsey twice in the movie, before he dies and then after he dies. And then there was a short scene that was added of showing Herbert injecting himself with the reagent to keep himself awake, so he'd keep doing his work.
Really? Okay,
and
that's interesting.
It kind of, I guess, it kind of ties into like how his behavior kind of changes throughout the film. Like, he's always very focused on what he's doing, but like as he just gets, like, literally the end of the movie, it is chaos, and he escapes the chaos, but he's still just like, nope, I got more shit to do. And you're like, what do you mean? Like, you gotta go. But it kind of explains it. Like, I feel like that could have been a pretty interesting thing to keep in the movie, but I understand, why they didn't do it, because maybe some people question, they would want to know more of like, how does it affect him? It doesn't affect him in a way like, how does a living person react to using the reagent other than the reagent just being used on a dead body?
Yeah.
So the unrated version, which came out in theaters back in 1985, a lot of people call it the director's cut, and Stuart Gordon, the director, was like, no, it's not, because that was our vision. It's not. That was what we planned to do from the start. That's what you got. Unfortunately, in order for certain people to see it, or for certain territories to play it, we had to make those changes in order for theaters. Like, I think the UK was one of them, and then probably like China and stuff. I don't even know. It only made $2 million, so who knows how many countries actually were able to show it, especially being so. It's extreme. It's very extreme, but it's so good because everything's practical, and it just, you appreciate the practicality of everything. The special effects, which were done by John Buechler, he was director for, I'm trying to think of I think it was Friday the 13th Part 7, which was the Jason versus Carrie type.
It's all right.
But he's huge in special effects. And yeah, he did it along with 3 other guys, Everett Burrell, Anthony Doblin, and John Nolan. And I think John Nolan, he was he was right under Buechler as being one of the like head guys, kind of, he was the guy in control pretty much of the VFX, or not VFX, but the special effects. Stars.
Because we're showing 3 like different people.
3 for the visual effects, or for the special effects?
Yeah, Brett Culpepper, Richard McGuire, and Michael Moore.
I have right here, the makeup department.
Oh, that's makeup, dude.
Oh,
there's actually a special effects below that.
Oh, okay. Yep.
That's what threw us off.
You're right.
We were looking at the wrong.
I should look at this shit before, but whatever. Why start now? Why start 67 episodes? Why start 67 episodes in of me actually doing the full-on research?
I was like, I hope
no.
We had
the just getting to the point where I don't do this shit.
Fuck yeah. We'll pay somebody else to do it.
This movie stars Jeffrey Combs as the titular Herbert West, which he just excels in every aspect of this character, and I just couldn't see anybody else playing him. He went into this role and he went 110%, and every time he's on screen, you're just like, what is this crazy man? He is the epitome. Yes. He's the quintessential mad scientist in my eyes. Like, I've watched a lot of movies about mad scientists, and of course, like Frankenstein being, how it all pretty much all started in cinema. Jeffrey Combs' Herbert West is just, he's just way beyond it. And I don't know if I've ever seen a movie with such a focused, and even in the most dire situations, he is just still focused on his work from beginning to end. And it just shows. We have Bruce Abbott as our secondary character, Dan Kane, the guy who kind of gets drawn into Herbert West's crazy mad scientist experiments. Barbara Crampton, who is she has been in so many horror movies from the 80s, 90s. I mean, she's still doing it today. She's still doing stuff today. She voices
the best character in Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, she does.
She voices Mom.
Yeah, I saw that she did a voice in that game. That's pretty cool. I was
like, that's awesome.
Yeah, good old Mom.
It makes me happy.
Her performance was really good. Probably why she kept getting roles in these really crazy horror movies throughout her career. But yeah, she's still doing it today, and she's awesome. David Gale, though, is somebody else I want to talk about. He's the one who plays Dr. Carl Hill, and he's another one who he's such a, like, in the beginning of this movie, you kind of see him as this character who, like, just that older, wise guy, but he like wise doctor who is like, he's above everybody, and he wants to make sure you know it. He doesn't like people questioning him. He's been doing this for a long time. But then it just kind of goes into such a weird territory with this dude. Like, this guy's performance is amazing,
Yeah.
But he's creepy. He makes you uncomfortable.
Mm.
And then it just gets really fucking weird at the end of this movie, which actually leads. When we get to that part, I'll add a little bit of. Make sure you remind me because my brain might not work at that point. There's a little thing that happened to him because of a part of this movie.
I know what you're talking about.
And I really want to talk about it, but we'll talk about it when we get to it. And then Robert Sampson, he plays Dean Halsey. Another character who I thought was good because, he had to go from playing a very stoic, professional person to then having to play something completely different, because he's becomes a reanimated corpse. Everybody, spoiler alert. Woo! And listen, if you've listened to this podcast, you're like, oh my God, he spoiled it. Like, this is how it works.
Guys, well, you already spoiled stuff earlier. It's just how it goes. It doesn't matter.
The podcast, there is no spoiler warning. When you come into this show and there's going to be spoilers.
You've had 37 years almost to watch this movie if you haven't watched it yet.
That's true facts.
So, of course, like I said earlier, this is based on there were short stories. There was like serial short stories by H.P. Lovecraft. So there's all of his stories are based in what's called Lovecraft Country, which is not too far from where I live, out in the eastern part of Massachusetts.
It's a racist utopia.
I know, Massachusetts. You would think, right?
Well, yeah, carry on.
It's more Lovecraft was on record of being a very, very big racist. But Arkham, which is Arkham, Massachusetts, which is where this takes place, is not a real place. It's actually based in Oakham, Massachusetts, which is like the middle of Massachusetts, like Worcester. And the hospital that Worcester.
I'm just like thinking, is this Worcester? Is that a sauce?
Worcester.
No, that's wash your sister.
Wash your sister? Is that what you just said? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Just carry on.
Yes, that's just how Massachusetts towns are, Oh man.
Oh,
so the hospital or the university that this takes place in is the Miskatonic University, which is actually named after a river in that area of Essex County. And this was the first time that it was ever put on film. That whole thing, because this is actually all of these things were in not in the Herbert West Re-Animator stories, but they were in H.P. Lovecraft stories. Stuart Gordon, the director, wanted to do this as a play. And he really didn't know what he wanted to do, like how he wanted to go about it. And then there was, he was talked into possibly doing it as a TV series. So he wrote the scripts and people were like, hey, go talk to Brian Usna, who, and Brian Usna was pretty much like, hey, you should bring this to Hollywood, make this a movie. I think that's where it's going to do well. And $2 million off a $900,000 budget. There really wasn't a lot of marketing because of the fact it was unrated. So I guess it's deemed a success in a way. Yeah. I know it got raved. It got a really good reviews. I think it got a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I think it was scored between 7 and 8 on most like Metacritic and IMDb and stuff like that. It got favorable reviews because people just enjoyed. I think people saw what it was and they enjoyed just because it's schlocky horror. It's very schlocky horror, and and even though the story is pretty interesting and the characters are great, and I think everything kind of culminates at the end. It's still like just the gore and the sex, and it's not even really
the dead cat,
the dead stuffed animal. Yes.
What the hell is that sound? That's not a cat, dude. What is that?
Why do I gotta break into my basement? No.
Don't come in here. I'm naked.
Oh man, the music was done by Richard Band, and
ironic.
The theme for this this movie is very reminiscent to the theme of Psycho, and it was done on purpose. A lot of people pretty much came after him and were like, "Hey, this is pretty much Psycho's theme," and he's like, "I know, I did it on purpose. It was to kind of," but he like he puts his own little twist to it and all that, and and you know what, it's fine. Like for me, I think it's so as long as you're crediting the person that you're kind of inspired from, as long as you're not like it's not a direct rip, I feel it's okay, just not blatantly stealing somebody's work and then just kind of being like, yeah, it's mine. I put a little bit of this and a little bit of that, so it's okay. But no, it's very reminiscent to Psycho, but it's always it's done on purpose. I love the opening of this movie with the like when it's playing the theme and it's showing all like the fluorescent skulls and all the different anatomy and
the
opening of this movie is great.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So let's go around and talk about what we thought of this movie, since we've all never seen this movie, and we do have a couple comments at the end of the show from people on Twitter, but we'll get to that at the end.
I don't ever read those. I wait to hear them on the show. I'm good. I want to hear them
up for me. So, yeah. So whoever wants to start, go ahead.
I'll go first since I suggested it.
Okay, don't take my likes.
You're what?
Don't
no, I'm gonna look.
likes.
Hold on, let me just look. Just kidding. I might need these ideas. Scribble your name out, put mine next to him. I'd be like Dr. Hill. But anyway, anyway, okay, so I didn't know about this movie ever, like growing up. I had a real big boom, and if somebody listening to this can remind me of the fucking website, please do. I was really big in like the later 2000s into zombie movies, and there's a forum I used to go to all the time. I can't remember the fucking name. It was a really big zombie movie forum, but if anybody can remind me. But that's where I heard about this movie, because I was like, I want to watch more zombie movies because I like the zombie movies subgenre. And I'm still a lot I need to see. But anyway, this always came up. And I've always been meaning to watch it. And I don't know why it just clicked for me the other day. But I was like, hey, we should check it out. And I'm glad nobody's seen it. But anyway, digress. I enjoyed the movie. I like the main characters. I feel most of the characters do their job fairly well. This is a movie that, with it being a lower budget, movie, I don't know how experienced the directors were beforehand. I don't know anything.
This was Stuart Gordon's first theatrical movie. He had done a TV movie before, and most of his work was theater. So this was his, and so like even I guess he had a lot of I think his director of photography was like his guidance. Like he was like pretty much the guy to be like, all right, like to show him how to shoot certain scenes, because it wasn't something he was used to.
Yeah, fair enough. This felt like a movie that could have easily just been like a real shit show film.
Yeah,
like new director or whatever. They're not knowing what they're doing, writers, whatever. I don't know, and just easily could have been. It didn't make much money. Easily just could have been a shit movie that nobody cares about.
Yeah,
but it just had this quality to it. And when I was watching it, I mentioned this to Angela. It really reminded me of the aesthetic of Day of the Dead. Like just how like some of the scenes in like the hospital felt, especially like down in the morgue and stuff. I really felt that movie. But anyway, no, just I thought it was interesting. Like I said, it's a good short runtime, as these movies should be, like you mentioned. I love oh my God. Main guy. Jeffrey Combs. By the way, FYI, I remember him as I think the second guy to voice the Scarecrow in the animated Batman movie, the series from the 90s.
Oh.
He was the Scarecrow that had the noose around his neck. That was after the design for the first couple seasons, and they changed to the other. Yeah, that was him. So that's where I knew him from. But yeah, all of them were great. I liked Hill, even though how he ended up in the end of the movie, and they were good. All the main characters were good. The effects were great for being so low budget. Some of the gore was really cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
one of the best like shovel.
The shovel kills awesome.
Oh, it's fucking great. Kudos to the cat. Cat's dope as fuck. The scene, when we get to it, the scene involving the cat, I loved that scene. How it was shot. I love how that scene was shot. But yeah, good stuff. I recommend it. Actually, I want to watch it again. Like we were sitting here talking about it. I was like, I want to watch that movie again. I'm going to go buy it. I'm going to go buy it on Blu-ray.
Damn.
Right now.
It's definitely.
Let's take our clothes off.
Whoa.
It's definitely worth a rewatch
Not a part of that.
many times.
Go ahead, dear. I'll keep it short because I think it's good.
I love the dark humor.
Yes, yes, yes. The dark humor. There's only a couple of them. That's really good stuff. Yes, thank you.
There's a couple of times where we just cackled.
Oh, we did watch the unrated cut.
I
Yeah.
think
the one we watched.
that's how I think that's how it's shown most places.
Yeah.
I think that's because that's how the filmmakers want people to see it.
As they should.
Yeah. Practical effects. Security guard was the best.
Oh yeah, security guard, awesome character.
Shit, I'm out.
Smartest character in this fucking movie by a landslide.
Oh, so good.
But yeah, I mean, I would watch it again. I do remember Jeffrey Combs. He was in 4400. That's where I remember him from.
He's done a lot of stuff.
4400.
Yeah, it's the show where 4400 people were kidnapped by whatever, and they ended up in a different period of time.
Yeah, some CW.
Like the.
It sounds like a CW show. Just the title, not the plot of it.
They all came back with like special powers.
Oh. I feel like there's been a couple shows that have done that same kind of premise.
Well, this one was back in 2005. It was
before it was fucking cool.
He was in The Frighteners, which I don't know if that's a movie you guys have ever heard of. It was Peter Jackson horror movie back in the 90s. Michael J. Fox. Jeffrey Combs. I don't know if he was like the bad guy but I mean he is the quintessential bad guy. And like, he plays it so well.
Oh yeah.
But I just remember anytime I would see him in that movie, I was like, ooh, the appearance just kind of throws you off because he had like this really distinct look to him, which I think I think he stated like he copied or he looked at like a young picture of Hitler and just took that look, like brought it to Peter Jackson. It's like this is what I should look like, right? And at first Peter Jackson's like, I don't know. And then
you know who this is, right?
Yeah. It's not no. But yeah. Anything else?
Except for the one scene that's kind of awkward, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. And it's done on purpose. I mean, it's just the way this character was.
Dicks everywhere. Ass, titties,
everything.
Full on nudity.
They just give it to you.
There is no fucks given in this movie.
Nope.
When it comes to any of that.
It is kind of a bleak film.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like I didn't feel like when you watch, like for instance, like when you watch a movie when it's got nudity like this, and it's one of those things where it's like it fits for what they were trying to do. It wasn't just kind of like shoehorned in there, and I feel like Barbara Crampton was just like, yeah, I mean, I'm fine with going nude movies if it makes sense to the movie. Like I don't want to just being me being naked just to be naked, because it's like, is this what kind of movie am I doing?
She was like exposed to like 7 people at one time. Like they were just staring.
I got a question.
What's up?
I'm weird like this. I was doing a boob count in this movie, and I just clicked for me. Why did I come up with an odd number?
What?
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I was not counting boobs. I was just seeing if I could catch somebody with that. They come in pairs. It's supposed to be odd.
I know.
It was worth it just to get a reaction out of you, dear.
I'm
just seem like
wondering where that came from.
It was just because we were talking about nudity.
I actually thought
it was topical.
I thought that you really were counting.
No.
Like,
yeah, I did too. I
really
like,
don't.
all right.
Okay, I will say this: nobody's boobs got ripped off, and if you get that reference, you get that reference.
I think I get that reference, but I'll leave it. I'll leave it.
It just the one.
Don't say anything. Don't say what it's from.
No, I'm just saying the scene that you're talking about. It just kind of pops off.
Just like that.
Oh,
yeah,
like
her boob just kind of pops off. Yeah,
I think I know what you're talking about.
Like, yeah, we're never gonna mention it. If we ever cover that movie, I will say what it is, but I'm never mentioning it until we do. It's just not gonna happen.
So I had a blast with this movie. Like I said before, it's short. And to be honest, I feel like I could have gotten more. I could have gotten 20 minutes more. Or even more. I just feel like I was so ingrained in everything that was going on screen. And Jeffrey Combs' performance is just so like you just get sucked in. You're just like,
Oh yeah.
this guy sucks, but like every time he's on, you're just like, fucking, what crazy shit is he gonna do now?
He's the asshole you root for, dude.
Yeah, because there's a bigger asshole in this movie, and his name is Dr. Hill, who is just the creepiest fucking old. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, man,
it's cool. It's actually neat how they changed the perspective on that throughout the film. It's cool. It's like flip flops, kind of.
Yeah, you see in the beginning those two characters in the same scene, and you're just like, okay, Herbert sucks. Dr. Hill is just like, he's a professional. He's been doing this a long time. So he's just like, what are you questioning? You're crazy. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And then it's just like later on in the film, you're like, oh, okay.
All right. We had it good all along.
Yeah. But yeah, I just, this movie's really good. Really well made. The special effects are awesome. Makeup effects. The performances, not just by Jeffrey Combs, but by everybody else, it's great. This is a top, like I said, this is the quintessential mad scientist movie for me now. Like when I think of like what is the best movie that has to do with a mad, like this, just that persona, like the Dr. Frankenstein type persona. It's Re-Animator, because it's just seeing Herbert West from the beginning to end of this movie. It's like it just gets more crazy, like crazier and crazier and crazier. And then by the end, there's no really abrupt end. Like you don't know what happens to him at the end.
Yep.
It's just like you just got to use your imagination. I mean, yes, there are sequels to this movie, so you figure out what happens to him. But I thought the movie ended really, really well. I like the ending. It wasn't one of those where like you're watching and you're really ingrained in the movie, and then by the end you're just like, oh, they let me down.
I felt it had a nice,
except for one
full
piece,
circle feel.
One piece, which then causes the end result of this movie, where I'm just like, why did you have to run all the way down there to grab that? No wonder that event happened.
Keys.
Yeah. Oh my God, we'll get to that though. But yeah, it's a good movie. And Stuart Gordon, who directed this movie, he died a couple years ago. His birthday was, I think, as of this recording, 3 days ago. So happy belated birthday, Stuart Gordon. Thank you for creating a memorable film that it will be definitely watched a lot going forward in this household. So, and I'm happy to, definitely really happy to talk about it. So thank you. All right, we ready to talk about the plot? Plot! So this movie, there is no subtle opening. There is no fade in. It is, you're at a hospital.
Yep.
And there's a couple cops. Oh, you're in Germany, by the way. At least I think you're in Germany, even though he says it's Switzerland.
It's
Why
Switzerland,
are they
but they're
German?
speaking German. Yes.
Yeah.
Is it because Gruber's German? I don't know. We're at a hospital in Europe. And there's a couple cops and somebody, I guess, who works at the hospital who is on their way down to Dr. Gruber's office. Now, this character's name is Dr. Hans Gruber, which would the same name would be used 3 years later in Die Hard.
Yep.
Pretty funny. Who knows if it's because of this movie, but I just, that was cool. That was a cool read.
That's the connection.
They break into the office. And Dr. Gruber is not looking so well on the floor.
What are you doing with that mannequin? Oh,
yeah. What? And we see Herbert West, over his body, and he's going crazy. And they pull him off, and that's when you get your first spot of great special effects where Gruber holds his head and he's just squeezing, his eyes just like blowed out, and they kind of like just explode, and it just squirts all over the nurse. And we get the line where the or whatever the hell this woman is, she's a nurse, a teacher,
I think she's a
professor, whatever the hell she is. She looks at Herbert and goes, "You killed him," and he's like, "I did not. I gave him life." And then we get the awesome intro.
Yes. That's a good way to start the movie, though, because
Yes.
I don't know.
We are in Arkham, Massachusetts. My wonderful state. At
Oh.
the Miskatonic University,
Fake.
which is the same building that was used in Terminator 2 for Cyberdyne.
That's ironic, dear. I
There's
wonder if there'll be.
there's another tie-in with Terminator as well.
Oh, I
But we'll
didn't
get
see
there.
that one.
Okay, cool. Oh, we get surprise Parker. Woo!
So a doctor and a nurse
might already
they're
know.
trying to save a dying woman on a gurney. I didn't know.
Yeah, he stuck it in her gurney. Keep going.
So I read a fact about the person they're trying to resuscitate. I guess this person was a dildo enthusiast and used to hide dildos in all of the like the fake dummies in the fucking morgue.
In the morgue.
Take that woman, first day of work at the pinata factory, she was fired.
Also
gummy worms. Like, no.
The doctor who is there helping, trying to resuscitate the woman, is the wife, is Stuart Gordon's wife.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, we looked into that. That's so cool. Weird.
And yeah, he's we meet Dan Kane, and he is very determined to get this woman back, bring this woman back to life. And he's like, we got to go a little bit longer. Got to make sure those drugs are going through the body. No, to no avail. We then
calm down. Put the dick down.
Oh, this was a woman though.
I don't know. We were talking about dildos. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm projecting onto him because I'm also a man.
So the woman dies, and he has to bring the body down to the morgue. And that's when we meet Angela's favorite character, the security guard. Does he have a name? I don't think he has a name. I think
I don't give a fuck.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. He's dope as shit, dude.
And I love that he goes, I don't understand why we lock the door, because nobody wants in and ain't anybody getting out.
There are a shitload of scenes like that in this movie that have payoff. Just things that happen in this movie that have big payoff like that.
That's a great line.
Yep.
Any line that I thought was like great, I had to write it down because I always forget quotes. Dan, when it comes to anything with movies, I could tell you trivia and shit like that, but when it's like, could you quote this movie? And I'd be like, nope. Oh, do you know the tagline for this movie? Do you know the thing? Without looking it up, cheaters.
I did see it earlier. Which one? There's two of them.
What? I don't know. There is two. I just know the one.
The one that I saw it's like Herbert West has a head on his
a
good head on his shoulders and another one on his desk or something like that.
On his side.
That's the one.
And there's another line under that same poster. It says Re-Animator. I think it says it'll leave you in pieces or something.
It'll scare you to pieces.
It'll scare you to pieces.
Yeah. Yep. So I love the whole scene where Dan is putting the body in, and you got the one body that the arm keeps flopping off. And at first he's just like, like very
yeah.
I don't want to. And then he puts the body in. He's kind of in the corner, and then the arm flops down again. He's like, fuck.
Dark humor.
He's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. We then meet up with Dean Halsey and Herbert West. He is a new student here. He is coming from Switzerland, even though there was a lot of German. I don't know. That was the confusing thing. It's like they were supposed to be in Germany based on the opening scene, and then they switched it to Switzerland because they forgot their own continuity. They're like, well, we got to keep it. It's fine.
Well,
I didn't look that up.
I mean, there was a lot of shit going on with the wall in Germany at this time. Maybe they decided just fuck it, we're not going to fool with that.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe, I don't know.
Or maybe it was just a school in Switzerland that had a lot of German doctors. That's what I'm going to go with.
Must be, could be.
We also meet Carl Hill, Dr. Carl Hill, and Herbert is not a fan. He's pretty much like, you steal people's work, you take it as your own, and then we later see, yes, that is very true.
Yeah. And you think it's just him being an asshole. But.
Yeah. But he's like, yeah, you pretty much, most of the stuff that you work on is the same shit that Gruber worked on, but Gruber did more. Gruber's better than you, even though he's dead now.
He'll be all right. He'll be all right.
Kane meets with his girlfriend, played by Barbara Crampton, Meg, which I did not hear her name for like the majority of this movie. I'm like, what the fuck is her name? I just knew her as like Halsey's daughter.
Yeah, that was a lot. You emphasized a lot.
Did you like the transition between them hugging in the hallway to them just plowing each?
Oh God, it went
Dan
quick.
just plowing her.
I mean, less than 10 minutes in, we get that first sex scene. Like, they didn't wait long.
Yeah, it was literally, it was a great transition though, because like they embrace in the hospital, like, oh yay, and literally it just whoop, right to him just go and like
What's happening?
The moaning is loud, and I'm like, I'm not watching porn, I swear.
No,
We had to stop it because one of the kids came out right at that time. It's like, nope.
oh wait, hold on, time out. Well, see, here's the thing about the scene that doesn't make sense to me. All right, like they're in like the throes, right?
Yeah,
And then you know they stop, you know, whatever, and she gets out of bed and she's like, well, yeah, what's the cat? Rufus. The cat's name's
Yeah,
Rufus. He's an asshole, but that's his cat.
he's a cockblocker,
Right.
even though he was done.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Then he and she's all like, they're like having sex, but she's like covering herself, and then she gets up and just gets naked. Like, what the fuck did you have her like half covering herself to begin with? Like, I mean, like just in the, I don't give a fuck personally, but like if you're just gonna not care, just what's the fucking matter?
It's probably just
like,
it's just the moment of filming. Like, I don't think she was directed to be like, cover yourself and then just drop it. I think it was just more of like,
it could be.
She remembered what movie she was in, so she's like, oh, I don't really care now.
Yeah,
I don't know why I cared before. But my note is, I do have to read my note when I put a little joke in there. It's like Kane meets with his girlfriend and then he shows her his bone. We find out she's the daughter of the dean. And it's a weird thing where it's like the dean knows that they're together, but yet people try to blackmail him for being with her. I'm like, what? I'm so confused.
I think they were more together than he realizes, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I think. I don't know.
Maybe you're right. Maybe, yeah, because every time like, he'd be like, I got to go over to Dan's and study. And he's like, oh, there must be actually studying because Dan's a good guy who's the best of the best. But really, I mean, they are. Yeah.
He lives up to the name, you know.
Fuck him.
So
just kidding.
As Dan's like fucking with her as they're getting out the door, it plays on a little too long, but they open the door and Herbert West is standing there and he's inquiring about the vacant room, and the address to their house is 666. I don't know the street, but the house number was 666.
Nice.
Yeah. And he's very interested. Of course, he's interested in getting a room, but he's very interested when he sees the basement. He's like, oh, ho, ho, this one's mine. No one comes down.
Perfect for my bondage chamber.
Yeah. Like, what? Keep that to yourself. And he moves in immediately because he's like, I have money. And Meg's just like, oh, really? And she doesn't even live there, but she's the one questioning things. And Dan's is like, this dude's got fucking a wad of cash. Welcome. I might have done the same thing.
This is where you realize that Dan is not your Chad character. It is in fact Herbert West is the Chad and he is the virgin Dan. Sorry, bro.
But yeah, Meg's not too sure about Herbert, and it's understandable. We are now in a class where there's not many people here. Not many. I guess this must be like high level, like people going to become doctors or surgeons or whatever the fuck they're going to be. And Dr. Hill's running it, and he's showing him how to remove, pretty much scalping somebody while they're doing an autopsy so you can remove the brain. And it's a really cool, it's a really cool scene.
The jello that he's
a lot of good sound effects.
Yeah.
When he's like scalping the person. Yeah.
Yeah. And this scene is just, it made me laugh. Like he's explaining things, and then you just see Herbert pick up the pencil, just snap it, and then you're like, and then he doesn't do anything. He hears it and he sees that it was Herbert, And then he like continues with this conversation or with his talk, and then you just see Herbert just another pencil.
Yeah.
And he's like, and that's when Dr. Hill's just like, fuck, class dismissed, get the fuck out of here. Mr. West, fuck you. Next time, bring a pen.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
And that's when Herbert gets up and just storms straight for Hill. And he's just like, you're a fraud. You fucking suck. You steal people's work.
Yeah.
He's
Students
like,
around him and everything.
He's like, I'll have the joy of failing you, Mr. West. We then go to a dinner at the Halseys because earlier the dean talks to Dr. Hill about like there's a seat on the board or something like that. And he's going to have a dinner to kind of talk about it. And this is when you find out Dr. Hill is a creepo because he's got a thing for Meg.
Yep.
Really weird thing. And he's trying to like throw Dan under the bus because of course he figures the true relationship between Dan and Meg. And he's pretty much pretty much trying to hint to the dean what they're really doing when they're studying. And the dean's like, no, not Dan. He's a great boy. They're studying. And then it literally cuts to them at the apartment where Meg is trying to study. But the only reason that she doesn't want to bone Dan is because she is so hung up on Herbert and what the fuck he's doing. And I would have been like literally in that moment, I would have been exactly the way Dan was. Not in the way of like I'm trying to push myself onto her. But the fact of like why are you thinking about this guy? The fuck are you doing?
Yeah, what's the matter?
Like, is he hurting you in any way? Even though the thing that he does is fucked up, and you're like, oh, okay.
I mean, she's not wrong to worry.
No, but it was just at that moment you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
right. I get it if you just wanted to study, but like you're just not in the mood because you're thinking about Herbert West, who you've met for maybe 5 minutes. All right. They're talking about how they haven't seen Rufus in a while, the cat.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, and that's what she gets fixated on because Dan's just like, oh, he's probably hiding somewhere or whatever. But so Meg investigates. She goes into Herbert's room and she notices the refrigerator is ajar. Why is your refrigerator ajar, Herbert? You wanted someone to find it, didn't you? And they find
I feel that.
Rufus in the fridge and he's not looking so good. And she freaks out. Dan discovers it. Well, actually, Herbert walks in before Dan does. And he's like, why are you in my room? I thought I paid for a private room. I was like, well, what the fuck is my cat doing in your fridge? Weirdo.
Yeah.
And then Dan discovers it and he does the epic like drop to a knee. Is like, why, Rufus? Why? And Herbert comes up with the story that he was already dead. What did he? Oh, he got his head stuck in a jar.
Yeah.
Suffocated. It's like,
sure.
Okay, Herbert. Okay. Whatever you say, weirdo. So yeah, he said he was dead when I found him. And then Herbert pretty much blackmails them. He's like, well, the dean doesn't know fully about your relationship, but that could change. And I was like, I'm so confused about the relationship between Dan and Meg. I'm like, okay. While Dan is sleeping, he hears a cat scream, and he's like, what the fuck? I found my cat in the fridge. How is he screaming now? What is going on? So he goes
bringing cats into the fucking house, Herbert.
He's just picking up strays. Oh, man. So he goes and he investigates the house, and he has to break into his own basement because Herbert locked the basement. And he falls down the stairs and immediately gets up. And I was like, I'm pretty sure he'd be down there like,
yeah, right.
Fuck.
I would.
And we see that Herbert's getting attacked. He's got something on his back, and he's getting attacked by a stuffed animal, which once was Rufus, a real cat.
Yep.
And I love at first, Herbert's just like, get out of here. And then like 5 seconds later, he's like, get this thing off me.
Yeah.
He's like, what is it? What do you want from me? Do you want me to leave?
It looks like a puppet, like a hand puppet.
It does.
It's so goofy. It's so dumb, but you know what? I don't care. But The next part is great. Dan just fucking rips it off of Herbert's back and just yeets it into the wall. Just
There's a blood splatter.
and it's just like, oh no, that's in a second. So it's dead. He puts it on the table, and then Herbert starts to tell him about his reagent. This liquid that pretty much brings. It has to have like a certain it can't be dead for a certain amount of time because then it doesn't work. But he's trying to prove the point that when a body dies, the brain activity usually goes for about between 6 and 12 minutes. And he's trying to prove that he can make it go longer than that.
Yes.
And the reagent is actually just glow stick liquid.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yep.
Well, I was gonna say in that scene where they're fight with the grand battle with Rufus, it actually goes for a while because they're like stumbling across the basement.
Yeah.
And the thing I like about the scene though is I like how it's shot and lit because it's just the one lamp, but like it's like kind of constantly moving.
It keeps
Yeah.
I just love the one where he's creeping up to the shelving unit with the broom and he just like fucking beats the shit out of this one box that Rufus clearly isn't in.
Yeah. It's fun.
Man. But yeah, he explains to him all about the reagent and all about like what he's trying to prove. And he is like, I'm going to show you. And so he sticks some into Rufus's very mangled body. And then you get the really creepy, he's got like intestines and shit hanging out of him. He's all twisted up but it's just his head going like, and it's just like, it's also terrible. Like it's just a puppet, like looks literally like a stuffed animal just flopping around.
Yeah. Cause he's like, don't worry. He won't fight again. His back's broken.
Yeah.
And then Meg just walks in like, Rufus.
And then she just instantly like, it was him. He did it. Like, shut the fuck up, lady.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I guess her and Dan have a spout and she leaves. He goes, Dan the next day goes to Dean Halsey to explain what Herbert's doing. And instead of like, it pretty much Dean Halsey immediately just is like, discredits him, pretty much is like, well, fuck your loan to go to school here. Fuck you just pretty much ruined your career. And and Herbert West doesn't go here anymore. And it's like, wow, that was very drastic in the span of less than probably 8 hours.
Yep.
And Dan sneaks Herbert into the morgue because before this, I think they have the conversation about Dan helping Herbert get some bodies to try to reanimate. He sneaks him into the morgue. This is when we meet the security guard again.
Yeah.
And he's got to unlock the door this time. And Herbert's like hidden in the gurney underneath the sheet. He pops out, and I like the whole thing where he's going around and like investigating every dead body and like the cause of death. He's like, well, the brain. We got to make sure the brain is still somewhat intact. It can't be any trauma to the brain, and also the heart has to be somewhat healthy. So like if it's a body that has like a heart, like something wrong with the heart, then he won't touch that either.
But the security guard tries to see under.
Oh, that's right.
He's like, what kind of body you got under there?
He was called like hamburger or something.
Something like meatball.
Yeah, something like that. It was like a car accident or something.
Yeah.
It's like a meatball.
Yeah, but he has like a term for it and fucking
because West, when they get in there, the second body or whatever, he's like, "There's your meatball."
Yeah. It was because he got hit by a truck or something. Or like a car accident.
So this is when you got Dean Halsey and Meg walking through the hospital, and he goes up to the nurse's station there's a station. He asks, like, have you seen Dan Kane? And she's like, oh yeah, he's bringing a body in the morgue. He's like, he's supposed to be suspended. He can't be here. And then he tells his daughter, who is clearly old enough to just say, fuck you, Dad, I'm doing what I want. He's like, you're going to stay right here. Hey, nurse, grab her arm, sit her ass down in this chair, and she can't move. And I'm like, I would have just been like, fuck you, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like clearly they're in college, right? Or it's got to be like a grad school type thing. She got to be in her early 20s.
I would assume.
So yeah, he's got to go. He knows where he goes to the morgue because that's where Dan is. And we then go back inside the morgue where Dan and Herbert find the body to reanimate, shove some reagent into it, and they got to like time it, like see how long it takes from the initial injection to when it reanimates. And the only thing is like anytime you reanimate a body, it becomes very animalistic and aggressive.
Especially when it's been dead for a while.
Yeah. And
this is where we get our tie to our Terminator.
Dun, 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 dun.
The body that he injected
was it
Peter Kent.
Was it the
guy
guy
stunt double for Arnold Schwarzenegger?
In the first one?
All of them.
Oh.
The first two. He was his body double.
Yeah, he's done awesome. Like 12 movies with him.
We're not talking Terminator. It still creeps into the movies we did.
Exactly.
What is it going to be next week, guys?
Notice, like every movie we've done, even if it's just a single, it always has a tie to something that we've already.
Should we create our own universe like Movie Dumpster does? No, you don't want to do that. That's way too much work. The fact that I respect the fucking hell out of them for being able to keep that shit up.
No kidding.
What is the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever? We can just do it.
There's Terminator.
6 degrees of Terminator. Holy shit. So yeah, the body gets up and it just starts fucking throwing both these guys around. And this is when the dean comes up to the door and he can't get in, and the fucking body just bursts through the door and just squishes the dean. And I initially thought this is how he died, but he was still alive underneath the door because he's like, ah. And then he just fucking pins him up against the wall and just.
Well, see, I thought it was about the scene because he pushes that big metal door. He's like, boom, and it falls over on the dean. He's like, oh, he got him. And then, the dude, walks out. I was like, he's just going to walk over. No, he gets on the door and fucking jumps on the damn door while he's under it and then walks off.
I love Herbert in the scene, though, when after the dean is just dying against the wall. And he just so casually has a bone saw, and he's just like, Dan, move. And he just casually just walks up and just shoves it to his fucking chest, and you're like, yeah.
That's awesome.
Herbert wants to. Herbert immediately, once the dean dies, he's like, all right, time to reanimate this one. And Dan's like, Dan, fucking, who's the actor who plays Dan? Fucking Bruce Abbott does a great job at just portraying somebody who is witnessing these horrific events and going through a lot of shit. Like he's just like in shock. Because there's even the scene where he's like laying on the ground, like in a fetal position, and Herbert just like covers him up with a sheet, and he's just like, it's okay. You're in shock.
Yeah.
I was like, Bruce Abbott, bravo, man. Because you did like, he's just like, what the fuck is going on? Is this a nightmare?
So my girlfriend, who's already pissed at me, her dad's dead, and now we're gonna bring him back to life.
Yeah, because there's this whole thing where like Herbert's got the legs of the dean, and he's just like, Dan, he's pretty much he's just trying to get into his head, just like, we got to do this. Like, what we got things to prove. We got to do this. You got to get out of your own head.
Pulls him over.
Yeah.
Before he even starts to be like, hey, we can do this. He's just like, yeah, here.
He's really. I love how good Herbert West is manipulating people. He's like, come on, we've got to save your girlfriend's dad. And he's like,
he's like, we can bring him back to. He's pretty much just convincing him of like, he's only been dead for seconds, so like we can bring him back to life like it was nothing. Like I don't think there's gonna be any repercussions for this. Like it'll just be like nothing happened. But no, it's not how it works. So they get him up there, and they. They reanimate him. I think it takes like 17 seconds to do it. I don't know the exact time frame. And Meg does Meg discover what they're doing? Does she like walk in on them?
Yeah, I think she does at this point.
Right. But she doesn't know what they did exactly. They just think that her dad is just really fucked up because he's like, doesn't say anything. He doesn't talk. He's very just like, he's like hiding in a corner, and she's trying to like comfort him and stuff like that. And the security guard comes in and just like, what the fuck? And I just love that there is a dead body on the ground. There's blood everywhere. Things are happening. And Herbert's just like, listen, this is what happened.
Yeah.
And the security guard's like, okay,
Yeah.
Dean, come with me. We're going to bring you to go see Dr. Hill.
Yeah,
Dr. Hill just has a fucking padded room in his office. Like it's on the other side of the fucking wall.
I like how Herbert explains it, because I think Dan asked him about it at some point. Maybe he did already, or I can't remember why they act the way they do when they come back. And he refers to, well, birth is painful.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's a good analogy. So, yeah, Dr. Hill being creepy tells Meg, like, oh, I'm going to study him. We're going to figure out what's wrong with your dad. And then
neurological, or I think it's neurological.
Yeah. And then immediately he goes into the, I love where it showed, like, she leaves and he goes into the room and there's already two guys, like, orderlies in there to try to get him. And they're like wrestling him and he's just tossing them around and stuff.
Yeah. Apparently this was a very, poorly built room, and you can like see it move when he throws one up on the wall, up against the wall.
You say it collapsed on him?
Yeah. Apparently it collapsed. So like when he's up against the padded wall, like he has to like not touch it.
Nobody's concerned at all of this dude. Is just like perpetually like heaving blood out of his mouth.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's normal.
He's also stretching. It's fine.
Also, before Meg leaves, Dr. Hill tries to make a move on her, and it's just weird. I was like, fuck, this guy sucks.
Yeah, he does.
But she's like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to get out of here. Just help my dad, weirdo. Dan meets up with Meg, and of course Meg is mad, but like, it's one of those things where she's like, I want to be mad at you, I want to hate you and all that stuff, but like, I love you. Mm-hmm. I can't do it. And he tells her that her dad is dead, and pretty much it was going to tell her everything that happens, tell her everything that Herbert's doing. Dr. Hill just casually walks into their house and goes down to the basement and just like, hey, Herbert, I know we're best of friends, right? What I want you to do is, I know what you did to the dean, and I want the formula, and I'm going to take the credit for it. Fuck you, because, if people find out what you did, you're going to go to jail. So either you give me this or you're going to jail. And so Herbert gives him the book, or his little notebook there. But then as he's just, I just love this man. He is so enthralled in this notebook. He doesn't notice Herbert walk to the back of the room, grab a shovel off the wall, and just casually just
yep.
Fucking
bonk,
smokes him in the head, and then just in one swift kick to the shovel, like he's digging a hole, just lops Dr. Hill's head off. And then immediately plops that head in a little tray and immediately injects the reagent into the head, and then injects the reagent into the torso, or into the rest of his body. And I love how just like so Dr. Hill wakes up, and I love like the long like speech. It's not just like he doesn't talk normally. It's always like, Herbert, you bastard.
Yeah.
And then the torso just casually walks up and just knocks Herbert out.
But this is the part of the dark humor. When he puts the head in the pan, it keeps falling over. Oh, yeah. So he keeps picking it up, and then finally he takes the little thing that he puts his notes in, and he just stabs it into it so it stays.
I just love the practicality. It's literally just the actor, David Gale, underneath a table. And he just puts his head through the table. I guess from what I read, Jeffrey Combs would give him cigarettes and stuff because he couldn't use his arms.
Because he couldn't move his arms.
Yeah, and he was in there for like hours.
Yep.
But I just like the fact it's like you put the reagent in the rest of the body. Did you not think it was going to come back? Like you're just not paying attention?
Well, see, I thought it was interesting because he even mentioned that. He's like, well, I've never done pieces before.
Yeah.
Because that's why he was like, if it would, what it would do separated from the head. It's funny that he can still control the body even though he's not attached to it.
Yeah. So Meg and Dan, they go to Dr. Hill's office. If Dan finds a really fucking creepy file on Meg. She's got like a fucking lock of her hair and shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
the fuck?
Yeah.
And listen, if you haven't seen this movie, everybody, anyone who's listening to this and just doesn't give a shit, it just gets fucking weirder as we continue with this guy. This dude
quickly goes downhill.
Oh, it's just like, woo!
Yeah.
Free falling right now.
He's skydiving without a parachute.
Oh yeah. Meg goes into the padded room where they discover that Dean Halsey has been lobotomized. We're looking at something. What are we looking at?
All right, there's a cat in our ceiling.
Oh.
She's just meowing at us.
We got a drop tile ceiling, and there's it's hey loaf. Hey loaf.
I was like, where's that coming from?
So he's been lobotomized, and you find out that Dr. Hill is did it on purpose so that he can control people with the reagent that he steals from Herbert. I like that Dan, though, he discovers Herbert, like Herbert wakes up and then Dan comes down and he's just like, he stole everything. He stole it all, except for some of the stuff that's upstairs. You're like,
You got everything except for the stuff in my room.
yeah. Which I guess Jeffrey Combs didn't like that line. He didn't like the fact that it would have been better if he just was like, he stole it all. And then it just kind of ended there.
Yeah.
So Herbert and Dan, they determine that Dr. Hill, or what Dr. Hill's motives are. Dr. Hill, his in pieces. I love the body, the headless body, just carrying the tray with the head in it. And he's going back to the office. And I love the whole thing where the body's trying to like do certain things. It's just fucking stumbling around the room.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, and he's trying to like give it directions. It kind of reminds me of in Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, the whole scene where there was one of the crewmen from the Flying Dutchman. He has like a shell for a head and it gets lopped off and he's trying to direct his body to get back to his head. It kind of reminds me of that. He's like, take a left. No, back. No.
Why does he just have a bag of blood in his office?
He's a fucking weirdo, man. But he has to. So he has to use this bag of blood to help keep the head alive because it's like slowly fading out. So like the blood like rejuvenates the head, and he talks with Dean Halsey, but like he pretty much brainwashes him to pretty much do whatever he tells him.
Yeah, after with the reagent and the lobotomy, he said somehow you can just control them.
Yeah,
I was like, all right.
So Dr. Hill uses so you notice there's a head on his desk. It's like it shows like different parts of the skull and the brain and all that stuff, and he uses it to distract, like as a head, to get himself into the morgue.
Yep.
The ear falls off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got the cap and the mask and his head's in like a bag.
Yeah.
So somebody's like, why didn't he just put the head on his body instead of using the fake head?
Maybe it just
still would have worked.
Maybe it was easier to get that fake head to stay on.
Maybe.
I don't know. It was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
There are King the security guards there.
Reading his boudoir magazine.
Boudoir.
So Dan goes to see Meg, and while he's like, I think this was the conversation where she pretty much is like, I want to hate you, blah, blah, blah. That we mentioned earlier. And then her dad shows up and knocks Dan out and then steals Meg and brings her to Dr. Hill. And this is where the weird shit starts to happen. So we literally get Dr. Hill's head in a tray, and then his body is all geared up. He's still got the fake head on too. And we just get the one-handed strip. Like he literally grabs her with one hand and just tears off all her clothes. And you're like, damn.
You can see the actress kind of flop when it doesn't go off the first go.
Yeah.
And he's like,
she's like, and this is it just gets weird. So we before this, Herbert finds Dan, and they're like, "Oh, Dr. Hill, we got to go find him. He's probably at the morgue." So they go, and we cut back, and Dr. Hill's just molesting Meg. It's real fucking weird.
It's a very uncomfortable scene.
It is a very uncomfortable scene.
Yeah, where he's just like groping her. And
He,
at first I was like, is that her dad?
Ear.
Yeah. And then the
He's just hanging out watching.
Well, he's the one that strips her down.
Oh,
and then he's just kind of like standing. He's just kind of standing there, like
he's a zombie though, so he doesn't even know who he is.
Like he's truly a.
Yeah, the lobotomy takes like the rage out of him, like it makes him more complacent.
Yeah. So, and it just gets worse. So his body picks him up. I'm like, damn, Barbara Crampton for allowing all this to happen to her in this movie. Like, fucking bravo, because this is like. Not many people would allow this to happen on film. And from what I've read, I mean, I haven't looked like super in depth, but like from what I've read from quotes from her, it's like she just, this was for the movie. This made sense to the movie. Like it wasn't, she really enjoyed working with Stuart Gordon. She liked working on this movie. So
he was more okay with it than David Gale's wife was.
Oh, hey, everybody. Remember earlier in the episode when I said, let's try to not forget the fact about David Gale and the infamous head-giving head scene. Well, according to reports, Stuart Gordon actually verified that during the premiere of this movie, David Gale's wife walked out during this scene and pretty much, she didn't like it. And they got divorced shortly afterwards. And a lot of people speculate that this is the reason why they got divorced, because of this whole scene. Because according to her, he didn't try hard enough not to enjoy it, I guess. It's a weird thing, but I figured I'd add that in since I said I was going to say it, but then I ended up forgetting to say it. So here it is.
His wife was.
Oh my God. So, the body picks up the head. He starts like sucking on her titties, and then and the whole thing is like, every time he's leaving blood trails all over her body because he's just blood is just coming out of
everywhere.
Her. Yeah. And we then get to him almost about to go down on her, and Herbert walks in. Oh fuck, what is the quote that he says to him?
Oh, he's such a badass about it too. I can't remember.
It's one of like the first quotes for this movie, so let me look real quick. I must say, Dr. Hill,
yes,
I'm very disappointed
in
you. You steal the secret of life and death, and here you are, trysting with a bubble-headed co-ed. You're not even a second-rate scientist.
Yep, it's very good. He comes in all cocky and shit with that. It's great.
So good.
The first quote though, Herbert West kind of disappointed because he wanted more people to laugh at the get a job in a sideshow. And more people laughed at the part about the talking head. He's kind of disappointed in it. Like it's a good quote. The whole thing.
So Hill has found the power of fully controlling reanimated corpses because he reanimates all the corpses in the room, and they all come to life and they start attacking everybody but Hill, of course. And Meg wakes up and has to pretty much she awakens her father. Like her father comes to, figures out who he is, and he turns on Dr. Hill. And this is where you get he picks up the fucking head and just fucking squeezes it to the point where it fucking like explodes in his hand, and he just tosses it out the door.
Yeah,
the security guard's right there, and he's like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
Smartest guy in this fucking movie. Like, I'm out, dude. Screw this noise. It's just corpses fighting each other and shit in there.
Holy shit.
He's smart.
Oh, yeah, and he shoves a bunch. This is craziness. Like, it's just different bodies fucking throwing Dan and Herbert around. Also, she's there. Meg's there, too, getting tossed around by all these bodies. And
everybody's naked because they're corpses.
Every corpse is naked. And Herbert injects a couple syringes of reagent into Dr. Hill's torso, which causes it to kind of like go fucking crazy.
That's where
it starts
intestines
morphing from the inside. It like turns into like a thing fucking creature where it like falls to the ground. Then like its intestines come out and it fucking wraps itself around Herbert. Like a goddamn snake.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. And this is where we get the pretty much the ending here where Dan gets Meg out of there. They go down the elevator, but they're getting chased by one of the burnt corpses.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the scene where I was like, oh, well, no wonder she fucking dies. Yes, Meg dies. She gets choked out by the burnt corpse where Dan sees her getting choked out. Instead of like trying to get the body off, he runs down to the end of this very long hallway, breaks the glass for the axe that's there. And then by the time he gets all the way back, it's too late. By the time he gets the body off, she's expired. And he then has to carry her back to the doctor that he was with in the beginning of the movie, Stuart Gordon's wife. And it's kind of it's very reminiscent to the first time we see Dan. He's doing the same exact thing at the end where he's trying to resuscitate Meg, and even though she's dead, he's still trying to do it. And yeah, she dies. Before this, though, the final thing we see from Herbert is they're like, Herbert, we got to get out of here. And Herbert's like, no, I got to get my notes. There's so much work to be done, as it's just fucking chaos in this room.
Yeah.
And then he just disappears. You never see him again.
No, Herbert gets pulled inside the body, dude.
Yeah,
he gets pulled inside the body.
The corpse that opens up and then the intestine thing comes up. It wraps around Herbert.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't see him get sucked into the
body, which is the whole extra dimensional shit that Geiger is what I would say.
Oh my god,
HP Lovecraft does. But he starts getting pulled in, and before they can't get him out, and he's like, "Take my notes." Take my notes before he gets pulled in. That's the last time.
So he takes like the little bag. He's got the bag.
Yeah. But he has that with him.
I missed the part with the light in the body, so I'll have to, when I watch it again, I'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That's where it's like, okay, this shit's like extra dimensional weird.
Yeah.
HP Lovecraft.
So Dan goes, well, let me give it a go. And he injects Meg with some of the reagent, and it goes black, and the last thing you hear are Meg's screams.
Yep.
And that's it. That is Re-Animator.
Yep.
What a fun watch. That was a good time.
Yeah, dude.
What
just breaks down to a pure shit show, dude. It's so good at the end of it. It's great.
All right, let me pull up the Twitter stuff.
Well, apparently the corpses at the end, they all like worked out together so they could get there. So they could be all in sync when they did their final, like...
Wait, what?
The corpses at the end, all the corpses they worked out together at the YMCA so they could all be in sync when they started
corpses
fight.
In the morgue.
The corpses in the morgue.
Very cool, very cool.
Choreographed.
Thought that was pretty cool.
I love the poster for this movie. This is definitely a poster I could fucking hang on my wall right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Such a cool poster. So as we do every week, I post on Twitter. I'm probably going to try to post it on other social medias, even though it might not do anything, but hey, whatever. What movie we're talking about, and then you can leave your comments on what your thoughts are on the movie. So our first comment is from Give Me Back My Action / horror movies.
Yeah.
It says new meaning to getting ahead.
Yep. There's a little bit of that.
That's what the scene was called. It was the giving head scene.
Our next one is from Cinema Trips Reviews, which I'll be on an episode of their show very soon. We just recorded something, so I'm very excited.
Oh, sweet.
Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton are so damn good in this. Always one I come back to during spooky season.
Yes.
And it's spooky season.
It is about spooky season.
No, it's now.
We have one from Emily Sweet. One of my favorite movies. Emily Sweet, somebody who I got into like a conversation with on Twitter. She is going to be in a movie coming out I think in like October, one of the VHS movies. I don't know if you guys have heard of the VHS movies.
I'm familiar.
There's one coming out at the end of this year called VHS 99. She's going to be in it. So I'm looking forward to that. But thank you for sending in your comment, Emily.
Yeah.
And our last one is from Kenneth T. Cook, who said, "You don't find a lot of well-done Lovecraftian horror. This one is amazing." And then he shouts out a Twitter account. Civil Gore Pod did a really good episode on it, and it's making a few years ago. Highly recommend. So something I'll have to check out at some point. Because
okay. Yeah.
Also check out Dead Meat. He did the kill count for all 3 of the Re-Animator movies, and they're great.
Oh, cool. I actually haven't seen those by them. So
thank you for everyone who commented. Make sure I do this every week, and we're gonna announce what movie we're gonna be doing, but you'll know before even this episode comes out what movie we're gonna be doing. But I still like to say what we're doing. But yeah, what a good time. This was a good movie that I definitely will be rewatching. Maybe I will drop some money and buy the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray is really cool looking.
Oh yeah,
I think Arrow put out a Blu-ray of this. And it's not too expensive, unlike some 4K movies that are coming out where I'm like $40. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Arrow,
so
I have
bad.
Arrow. Well, they'll never listen to this, but I'm still Arrow. Fucking camera set bullshit. All right, carry on. I'll stop.
Okay, well, Angela, since you weren't on our episode last week because that goddamn COVID decided to beat you up,
yeah.
Would you like to share your thoughts on Terminator Dark Fate since you weren't on the episode?
Dun 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 dun.
Thought we just throw this at the end here. We thought we were done with Terminator, but not yet.
No, I enjoyed it. Yes, there was a few like CG things, and I was like, that looks real bad. But for the most part, I've liked most of the Terminator movies so far. Yeah, there's a few that are like, yeah. Oh, I liked Grace. I loved her. Her scars.
Oh yeah, the scars. We
Yeah.
talked about that in the movie. They look so fucking cool.
Where they showed where they like not necessarily injected her, but where like everything started. Like you can see it on her arm and like on like right at the base of her throat. Like you can see like under her eyes. I thought that was really cool. But yeah. I liked it a lot. I could have done without some of the CG stuff. But Arnold is funny. I liked his.
I definitely liked him better in Dark Fate than I did in Genesis.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah.
All right. Well, I just wanted to get that in there since you.
That's fair. I forgot
you couldn't be on the show.
Yeah, you can see my thumb.
Yeah, you can. If you watch the video for me. Also, Dan, we didn't rank the movies. We're not going to. I don't want to get into that during this, but we forgot you mentioned it in the episode, and we never ended up doing it. So, but for the next franchise that we cover, we will start getting back into rankings. It's just I don't know what happened. It was just something that I completely forgot about for that whole Terminator thing, because we did it for Batman, and then this was the next one. So when we get back into a franchise, we'll get back into doing rankings. But it's too late now. I'm not doing it. But next week for episode 68, we're going to be sticking with the horror genre, and we are going to be venturing into a movie that is getting a prequel. Actually, when you guys are listening to this podcast, this episode, the prequel will be out. So we'll be covering on episode 68, Orphan from 2009. Prequel Orphan First Kill will be out October 19th. I figured since that's coming out, we'd cover it. I haven't seen it in probably 10 years. Probably actually, I might have, the last time I saw it probably was, I think I might have saw it in theaters. I don't remember, but I remember really liking this movie. And yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it, so it's going to be interesting to hop back in once again. And it's going to be very interesting to watch the prequel when it comes out, because it's like it's been a long time, and the original girl is, well, she's not just a girl anymore. The 25-year-old woman has got to play a 12-year-old again. So I'm very
That's
interested to see
exciting.
how they did that.
He's very pretty.
Yeah. So yeah, so Orphan will be next week, and then for episode 69, we haven't decided yet, but it's gonna be a little spicy, if you know what I mean, because we're very immature here on Dissect That Film, and we have for episode 69, we gotta be talking about. I mean, we talk about sex enough on this fucking show. It's like normal.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're all adults around here.
We are.
Yeah.
Adult children.
Allegedly.
We're adult in age.
Yes. But that will be announced next week's episode.
Yes.
Oh God, I don't know what's happening. But some things if by the time you listen to this episode, there was an episode that I was on over at the Baron's Hideout podcast where I sat down with Dustin and talked about Child's Play from 1988, which is one of my favorite films of all time. I love talking about Chucky. Anytime I have the opportunity to talk about Chucky, I am there. So that has already been dropped. I think it dropped on Monday, and then I recorded a show with Cinema Trip Reviews. I'm not going to say what I talked about because he hasn't said anything yet as of the recording. So I'm just saying that I was on his show. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. So thank you everybody for all of the love over on the podcast services, for all the love on the YouTube channel. I'm trying to think of like smaller things I can post on YouTube, maybe to get some of the numbers up, maybe to get some more people like the eyes, because I know like the longer form, it's hit and miss. Also depends on what you're talking about on YouTube, and YouTube's just weird. But the downloads, we're close, very close. As of the recording, we are almost to 5,000 downloads. But by the time you guys listen to this, we probably are going to be over 5,000 downloads. So thank you so much for that. Seriously, it means the world to us that you guys listen to the show to begin with. The fact that we are going to be hitting a number like 5,000 is like, okay.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
And yeah, it's to be honest, we're getting to the end of August right now, and to be honest, I just want to talk about horror movies for like the rest of the year until we get to like Christmas time. Then
it's spoopy season.
I know. It just after watching this movie for the podcast, I'm just like, let's just do horror movies for the rest of the year. Like,
I'm right there.
Everything else, right?
I'm already decorated for Halloween.
I'm very excited. I don't like I said, we only know what we're doing next week. It's one of those things where it's like we don't plan too far ahead because things change a lot. Yeah. But again, thank you all for the love and support. Make sure to follow Dissect That Film. We are on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We are on all the podcast services. Just type in Dissect That Film. If you want easy way to get to all those things, just go down to the description. There's a link tree down there where you can click on that, and it gives you all of the different locations we're at. Not all the podcast services are in the link tree, but I mean, if wherever you listen to us, just type in our name. We're probably going to be there. We're on YouTube, of course. We're inching closer to 400 subscribers. So if you go over, just go over, hit that subscribe button. I can't talk. It's free, guys. It doesn't cost you anything. Yeah. You don't even have to watch the video. Just show that love. Even if you just listen to us, which I appreciate you all for doing that. Go to the YouTube. Just hit that subscribe button. You don't have to watch it. Just be subscribed because you love us. Make sure to follow Dan and Angela on all their socials, which will be down in the description. They stream over on Twitch. Is it DNA_gaming on Twitch?
DNA_gaming1.
Yes, gaming one.
Where they
one day it'll get changed.
You guys stream what? Monday, Wednesday, Saturday?
Yep.
All right.
That's correct.
I'm selling your Twitch channel here. And you can follow all my links as well. They'll be down in the description. I am Parker Dissects on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And I stream about once every 3 months.
Yeah, you fucking
yeah.
Fuck those mooks.
All right, too much talking from me. That's why we're actually under an hour and a half. So I'm impressed with myself this week.
Yeah, dude. I was like, come on, get on with it.
Just kidding.
You did.
But it's not going to be. It's going to be exactly at an hour and 30 minutes as we end this. All right, everybody. And thank you so much. Until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming. We are Dissect That Film, and this has been episode 67 of the Dissect That Film podcast. See y'all again soon. Goodbye.